I hear this a lot from creators, and I want to know from you in the comments if you're one of them. When should I automate my sales emails? And I think this is a very good question, and I'm going to help you find the answer today. Welcome to Master the Inbox, the podcast where creators, coaches, and consultants can learn how to sell with email marketing in a non-spammy, non-salesy way. Hello, I am Monica Badiu. I will be your host, and today I want to help you figure out when should you be automating or evergreening, if that's even a word, your sales emails. Now, I know as a sole business owner or businesses who have a very small team, it is very hard to find the time to create sales emails every month or every 2 months. I know it's hard. I've coached dozens of creators through this specific obstacle. And it's absolutely normal if you're looking for ways to reduce the amount of time and effort that goes into preparing your sales emails. It would be ideal if this would happen on autopilot. And I completely agree with you. However, it's important to know that once you decide to automate a sales promotion, you need to have a few things in place. Number one, you need to make sure that the sales emails you're automating are actually emails that convert, which means that you should have at least tested them 2, 3, or 4 times before you decide, okay, this is good enough to go evergreen. And these are the KPIs you should be looking at. First of all, it's open rate, click-through rate, and then the average amount of sales that came from that specific email. And this ensures that what you're automating is actually working. Because if you don't do this and you just like run a promotion and then you automate that promotion the second time, you might not have the same results. And that's because you haven't tested that specific copy or mechanism of positioning your offer enough times. Now, number 2 is context. Sometimes you're going to have very specific context in mind. And when you automate the promotion and the context is very specific, you either need to be very careful about when it is delivered or you need to change the context. This is why it's better to test different angles and different contexts before you automate your sales emails. Number 3 is your email list and where they are in the user journey. Now, I have worked with creators who had a full 1 year worth of automated sequences, automated emails that both nurtured and engaged and then sold. And if you didn't buy from that, you would go back to step number 1 and they try to re-engage you and get you to see how their content is valuable. The problem with that is that you're creating a loop. And if the first part of that loop doesn't work, you're basically just recycling the same content that isn't performing on and on and on and on until your reader either gets tired of it or simply just disengages. This is why it's important to test your promos before that. Now, the fourth one has to do with the offer. A lot of people, they're testing new offers in a promotion. And they assume that if it sold the first time, regardless of how much money it made, it can be put on evergreen. But that's not necessarily true. And that has to do with the problem awareness and the context as well. Because someone who's buying your stuff from a promotion that was sent in January has a different problem perception or awareness with someone who's going to see your emails in March or in June or in December. So this is important to take into account when you decide the angles and the offers you're going to promote and how those fit into your audience's life. Some offers might work better like on evergreen. They could work throughout the year, while some offers could work better by season or by specific context, like kind of the fiscal year, which means that not all offers can be automated. The other element of this is once you have the data and you have your KPIs and you have run a promotion or a set of emails 3, 4, 5 times, you can now like pick exactly the best ones and make them fit into an automated sequence that has a more general context, meaning that it's not based or tied to a seasonal event, but more like a general problem or a pain point of your audience. So it's not about how to lose weight before summer, it's more about how to lose weight in general. So you're not just automating an angle that can work any time of the year, you're also paying attention to your offer. And you know that what you're selling is something that is popular and sells well, regardless of the time of the year. This means you should have enough historical data for 6 to 12 months that allows you to make that assumption. This is called data-driven decision making. And I think it's one of the most important things when it comes to deciding what you're going to automate. And finally, once you automate something, don't assume things are just going to run flawlessly. You still need to pay attention to the KPIs. You still need to pay attention to how you can optimize that flow to get better results. And the last bit of this is this. If you automate something, figure out who and when they're going to receive it. So when someone who is new joins your email list, they usually receive some kind of welcome email and then a series of emails that's called the welcome sequence. And I'll talk more about that in a future episode. Now, after that, you can consider adding in some super valuable, engaging content and eventually a promotion. This means that you need to create a plan for like 2 to 4 weeks of what happens when a new subscriber joins your email list. That's where you can throw in an automated sales sequence. But there are other elements and other moments in your customer journey where you can add automated sequences. For instance, let's say you have a student who finished course 1. When that happens, you can have a tag that is triggered by your learning system into your email marketing platform. And then when that happens, you can send them another offer, which would be this automated sales sequence that you have it running on autopilot. So that way, when a student finishes course 1, they can get an offer for course 2 without you having to manually go through all of that content, creating the segment and doing everything else. The third part here is you still should be engaging and cleaning up your email list every now and again to make sure that the segments that get your automated sequence are still active. So this is the gist of it. Now, ideally, when you do decide to automate a sales sequence, you do go through all of these questions and you try to find the data and you look at what the data says. I'm saying this because I've worked with plenty of creators who had automated sequences that were not delivering. And while you think, well, that's not bad, I mean, just stop it. Well, yes and no, you'd still have to do the work of making sure that that sequence is doing what it was supposed to do, which is converting while you sleep. Thank you for tuning in to this episode of Master the Inbox. Until next time, stay curious.